For my NAMI project, I went to the viewing of Two Minds and also attended the art show that had to do with mental illness. So, starting with Of Two Minds, I really enjoyed this film because it gave me a lot of different perspectives about bipolar disorder. First off, it took away this stigma that they can't live a normal life. It is harder because they have to figure out better ways to control their emotions, but there's this idea out there that bipolar people are dangerous and that they're dangerous to people around them because you never know when they're gonna switch into like a manic mode, and hurt someone around them. But really, the only thing I took away from this is that they're really just in danger of hurting themselves because they feel like they're like trapped in this and that they have to keep fighting for a normal life, and they just get exhausted to the point of depression, and obviously in depressions like suicidal states. So that was really interesting to learn about, as well as how it's not a choice to go up and down. It's not like, this made me sad, so all of a sudden I'm falling into a manic depression. It was more, some days I wake up and I just can't do it, and I just don't have the energy. And other days for them, they would just be like in their manias and just so happy, and they were beautiful, and they could talk to anyone. And it was just this crazy back and forth. And I thought it was really interesting that when all of the participants were in manias, they were always like viewed highly in a social context. This was always someone that was fun to be around, and it was like, they're spontaneous. They're always trying to do something cool. A lot of them were artistic, and I thought that was interesting because I imagine it must be difficult to go into a mode like that, where you are just like the center of the spotlight, but then also drop into a depression, where it is completely, you just can't deal with yourself and you don't even want to live anymore, or at least deal with the pain is how most of them put it. So I found that very interesting. And so one of the skills I can take away from this as future counselor would be to listen to everyone's story, and acknowledge that everyone's going to be different. There is no set way to be able to fix this disease. Like, for some people, medication works, and this makes them feel fine and levels them out. For others, medication makes them feel like a zombie in a sense, or like they're not themselves. So you really have to work with each individual person to kind of find out what works for them and how they want to go about living their life. And I guess probably the last biggest part I took away was how important support systems were to these individuals. Each person talked heavily about having a strong support system around them, someone to confide in, someone to go to, someone that maybe didn't understand, but understood to a sense of that their depression wouldn't last forever, and their manias wouldn't last forever, and that those weren't those people. That didn't define them. That their like level self, or their quote unquote normal self, was truly who they were, and they shouldn't be defined by the mania or the depression. And so in the movie, one woman makes a comment about writing suicide letters, and she talks about suicide letters and how she would write her suicide letter, but after she would never have the energy to follow through. And I thought this connected really well to the art exhibit, because she was maybe able to just get all of her thoughts on page and all of that emotion out, and so that it like lessened it inside of her, so that she maybe even understood the feelings better. And so that's kind of where the art show came to play, which I thought was really cool. Specifically, the masks were very interesting. Students and participants of the art show created masks, and they were to describe how the emotion felt in like a physical sense. So like some would have their mouth sewn shut, or the face split in two. And that was just really cool to give, like the emotion and feeling a physical look. And I could see that being really helpful in therapy, for just identifying what those feelings are and being able to come to terms more with your emotions. If you're asking a client, so, how does that, physically feel? Like, where is that pain? Where do you feel that emotion most? To really dive deeper into the emotion. Another really cool part of the art exhibit that I liked was that it was just like very real. It took away a lot of stigmatizations about, I would say, like rehab. One participant uses the pages from his journal from rehab and kind of switches the view. Rehab, I just view it as kind of this negative thing, and I think people also view it as like a negative thing. If you're being put into rehab, it's ugly. You're at like the end of the line. But this person used their journal pages and created art out of like the words on the pages and used it as the backdrop to represent like the coming forward of them getting better. So I thought that was really cool. And yeah, I really enjoyed this assignment and attending both of these events. Thank you very much.